My name is Kristin Arnold, and I am a Master Certified Professional Facilitator, and I've been working in the virtual environment for over 25 years, and specifically the last 6 years working virtually, and certainly a lot in the year 2020. And that's what I found. Many of my clients, they've had these tools for years, Zoom, GoToMeeting, Microsoft Teams, etc., but they haven't really embraced the technology. They've used it more as a one-way communication webinar device. And in my practice, I really strive for that engagement and collaboration, whether I'm a digital MC or I am a panel moderator, and I'm known as one of the leading authorities on panel moderation, both face-to-face and virtually, as well as the core of my business, which is around meeting facilitation. And many of my clients have just said, I can't wait, Kristin. We can't wait to have a face-to-face meeting. We need to collaborate and make decisions. And so I facilitate quite a few strategic retreats that are done virtually. You know, I was working with a client this past week, and he said, he's a manufacturing CEO, John, and he said, you know, I didn't have high expectations for this meeting. Not at all. But this actually worked. I mean, we could do this, which is really what you're looking for. You're looking for people to embrace the technology. And right now, we see companies that are embarking on this steep learning curve. How do I use these technologies more than just a one-way communication platform, but really engage the audience? And then once we've figured that out, using a facilitator, an MC, a panel moderator is really your insurance policy that your meeting is still going to be great and robust on a virtual platform. And either of these, by shortening the learning curve or being your insurance policy, it saves you time, it saves you money, it saves you aggravation, and it gives you peace of mind. So if you are looking for those things in your virtual environment, please give me a holler. This is Kristin Arnold, and we have the lovely, beautiful, smart, talented Marilyn Sherman, as well as Pegeen Echeverria, who we're trying to figure out where she is. She's missing in action. She was here, and she's going to come back on. So welcome all of the power panels. We have a chat box on the right-hand side. So if you could let us know who's in the room, just put your name over on the right-hand side. We'll be checking that throughout the panel. So you can insert your questions, anything that you've got there. I think Pegeen is trying to get into the room, so I have just given you permission, Pegeen, to come on in. So hopefully we'll get that started. So who do we have in the room? We've got Vicki Hess. So hi, Vicki, nice to see you. We've got Marilyn Sherman. And Marilyn, why don't you tell us a little bit about how this panel just got started? Do you find the need to network different?
Yeah, for sure. One thing I would say is I struggled with very early on in my career was a lot of military people are very humble. They don't want to toot their own horn or speak to the things that they've done.
So what do you think is like the biggest difference between the two?
Well, so I think it's, you know, with the virtual panels, you know, you can't read body language, and I mean, you can learn to hear and sense chemistry in the same way that you can on stage, but it requires different senses and different skills.
Because panels, when they're done right, are great. And it takes a skilled moderator to do them right.
You know, that's a good statement, because when they're done wrong, they suck. They're boring, they're terrible. And I'm one of those people that I really try to make the interview interesting, because I like to be interested myself. I like to be entertained. I like to be informed. And I think that's probably one of the key things we'll get to today is what makes that. But to me, one of the things that makes that is the fact that I want to be entertained. I want to be held captive, and so I get very energetic and engaged in the interview itself.
This is Kristin Arnold, and I just wanted to let you know that your parking lot is not a graveyard lot. I just thought I would let you know that I took this. Actually, Tom took the picture, and I am just going to follow up on these few things that you still had possibly outstanding. One was, when do you put things on a parking lot versus take it offline? So here's the deal. It is completely
Why do you think it's so difficult for military folks to network with people who are outside the military?
Well, I think networking is uncomfortable for almost everyone, but in the military, it's simply not done at all.
A really good point is that you don't just show up and interview somebody.
No.
You do some research. So what are some of the things that you do to research the people that you are interviewing?
We're coming up on the top of the hour, and I just wanted to end with a comment from each of the ladies. If there's one thing that you would suggest to our listeners, our viewers, about how they can make their brand more fascinating, what would it be? How about if we start with Beth?
Don't settle. Keep working at it until you wake up in the middle of the night and say, that's it, I'm done, I'm so excited, and you feel joy. That's when you have it.
Ooh, that sounds like that's the resonating piece. It has all of those elements. Mean.
Be generous. Be generous with giving away promotions about everyone else. Make it about promoting others, because as we do that, it also accelerates your own brand as someone who knows that there is enough for everyone. So I always give 2 names of other speakers every job I do. So be generous to build your brand.
You are so great about that, Neen. I appreciate that you do that.
That's my job. And Sally?
In order to become more successful, you don't have to change who you are. You have to become more of who you are, and you have to become who you are on purpose, so that every single time somebody interacts with your brand, whether they're receiving an email from you, you're walking onto stage, they're doing follow-up with you, that you want to encapsulate the very best of the experience that you give them on stage, find other ways to give them that exact same emotional experience in every other media channel. So for example, when I'm writing our emails, I'm very purposely putting myself in the state of how I feel when I'm on stage, because I want them to feel the way they sit in the audience, that feeling of being engrossed and mesmerized and challenged and stimulated every time they get any kind of update from me. Finally, every time you communicate, you're either adding value or you're taking up space. Do not go in front of your clients or your bureaus or your participants if you can't add value. Don't do the random cold call, hi, how you doing? Don't drop by just to drop by. If you're adding value, they're going to want to be connected with you. If you're just taking up space, then they start avoiding you and putting you in their mental spam filter. So the key is that when we're creating pieces or we're building our brand, the brand at its core needs to be perceived as valuable, and that it needs to add value in some meaningful and differentiated way.
Excellent advice. And Victoria?
Yeah. To build on that, I say that every time you communicate, you have an opportunity to influence people's lives for the better. And one of the ways that you do that, and this is the core behind everything that I teach, is to avoid the biggest mistake most presenters, communicators, sales people make, and that is, rather than focus on the information you want to convey, focus on the experience you want to create. So whether it's a conference call, a keynote, a meeting with a bureau, thinking, what is the experience to the first to the final moment? We have a whole piece on this, and I should have said this earlier for you, Kristin. It's free. It's downloadable on our website, boardroom.com, and I have a free ebook on that. Really, how do you take information and turn it into an experience?
Oh, very good. Wonderful words of wisdom, and I really love the idea about finding what resonates with you and not changing, but doing more of that. Thank you, ladies, so much for sharing your insight and your wisdom. We're going to have another power panel next month on December 21st.